Ronald Fiennes was running, and he was like
Was
74
it?
years old.
Wow,
Yeah,
how awesome.
yeah.
And
So
what
no,
was he like? Did
yeah, he's
you
super nice. Yeah, we had a chat, and he's there with his like half his hand cut off, and because he cut a few of his fingers off, didn't he, in his shed, and so it's just, and that's what's interesting. The most interesting thing about endurance sports, you get to meet people that, and I often say it, we have a huge endurance community here at NFI, and you sometimes sit and I sit back and I look at people that are around a table having a cup of coffee or something or going for a run together. I'm like, you just would never pair these people together. It's almost like inviting 10 random people to a dinner party sort of thing. You would just
mm,
never think that they're going to be together. But we come together through this love of endurance sports, which, in my opinion, is a love of self-discovery. We're curious and we want to know more about ourselves, our limits, our motivation. We want to continue to learn. And that's a common goal in all those people. And, there's blind people, there's people without legs, there's people without arms, there's white people, black people. It doesn't matter. Thin people, fat people. It's irrelevant. There is no, and it's kind of like how we conduct our business here in a fight. I don't care how old you are. I don't care
mm,
what your ability is. I don't care if your legs are working or they're not. Skin color, nothing. It doesn't even matter, because this is our purpose is so much bigger. And our purpose in endurance is curiosity and self-discovery. That's what it
mm,
is. Right now, things are great. It's been a very challenging year for everybody. What
mm.
we identified a year ago was that people would need what I spoke about earlier, emotional support. And we went very fast into helping people emotionally through fitness. We identified that health was going to be super important. And we just took our game up. We just supported people.
Yeah.
We created more touch points. We created more community. And now, I mean, listen, Zoe, things are not perfect. It's been a very tough year, but I measure our success based on the number of people that I see getting better at life. And right now, lots of people are getting a lot better. And really, that's how it started. It was back in 2004, 2005. Similar story to the endurance story, when a guy said to me, well, it's a longer story, but essentially he needed help. And I said that I'd help him. And I just get a lot of pleasure out of helping people. I'm quite self-centered, to be honest. I'm self-motivated. And I think to be self-motivated and perhaps as strict as I am a lot of the time, you have to be quite selfish. But
Mm,
I also care a lot about other people. And that's really, if I look at all of the sort of turning points of my life, how Inner Fight started, how I got into sort of ultras, they're all because I agreed to help other people. And I started training one guy who was incredibly overweight, and he was 135 kilos. And I remember in the first week that we were training together, he said, "It's my goal to be your training partner." And I admit, inside, I sort of laughed a little bit. I was like, okay, yeah, that's
mm,
cool. And I was like, you know what? That gave me fire for me to train him so well that he would be able to be my training partner. And because a load of people saw what I'd done with him, more people start to come. And it's kind of a case of, I think it's a case of, if you build it, they come. And a lot of the time we're all about immediate gratification. How do I grow my coaching business from 0 to 300 clients in 12 months? How do I do this? How do I make it faster?
yeah.
I speak to a lot of junior coaches at the moment, or people just moving into, be it personal training or any role of coaching. Like I've been coaching for over 20 years, and I don't think I took any money for coaching for at least the first 6 or 7 years. I just coached people, and I just tried my ways, and I made mistakes, and I listened to people. I got feedback. And then in 2008, I started the brand. And that wasn't for money either. I just shared my training programs. So the training that I was doing, I was just sharing it online, to a point in 2010 when I was working for Nike, and I was like, you know what? My passion is helping people. My passion is human behavior. I'm curious about human behavior, why we react the way we react, why we take care of our health or don't take care of our health in the various ways. And I said, I'm going to make this my living. And I already had the brand platform. So it was partially easier, you could say, but because I'd done a lot of the work before. And yeah, I went on my own, and it's over 10 years now. And you know, right now we're a 7,000 square foot facility here in Studio City in Dubai. And, you know, we have 250 to 300 endurance clients. We have a few hundred members at the gym. We're not big. We're, you know, we don't have over 600 members. Like, we're not a big, but we're a community-based brand and a community-based fitness brand, and we know everyone's name. And people come here because it's human nature to want to be part of something. And I liken it to, we're all foreigners here in Dubai, and you know, in the UK, you'd go to things like your village fete or something happening at your town hall, and that's where you get friends, that's where you get community. But that doesn't really exist here in Dubai. So we've kind of tried to take those things, and from my team sport background, we've taken those things, we've implemented them here, that we can forge friendships within the gym that can flourish outside. And it fits in with our vision. We just want to help people to get better and become better human beings. And it's kind of working, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that you say it's a community, and that's very much as an outsider. I've never trained in your gym, but I know a lot of people that have, and as an outsider looking in, that is how it seems. And it's really nice when, you know, I'm out and about and I'm running and I see the Inner Fight t-shirts, you know, and I think people have, you know, some people maybe have the opinion that everyone who goes to Inner Fight is super fit, because you do have some really fit athletes there. But I see all shapes and sizes in your t-shirts, and that is awesome. That's really awesome to see. And you know, they've all got one thing in common, I guess, and that's the grit and determination. But it's
and that's what we say. You've actually given a real good summary. We are all shapes and sizes, mate. Like, we've worked with people that are 180, 200 kilos. I still have people in my gym that can't run 500 meters without stopping. But, you know, that's absolutely fine, because they're here and they're doing it, and they possess what you said. To us, if they can gel with our values of fun and hard work and honesty, simplicity, mental strength, all of these things, then we can help them to get better. And that's the thing. Like, everyone, for someone 500-meter run is their Everest. For someone else, 100K run is their Everest. And that's what's beautiful. God made us all, or our creator made us all so unique. So why are we comparing ourselves with each other? It doesn't matter. And a lot of people say to me, I can't come to your gym, you're all too... No, we're not. You think we are, and that's an excuse you're using to stop yourself from coming in. If you want to have fun, you want to work hard, come and see us, you know. And that's what we've said since the start. I mean, obviously, sometimes, don't get me wrong, Zoe, sometimes I put it out on social media and it scares people the way that we do things, but maybe that's just a marketing plan.
Yeah, I speak to a lot of endurance athletes, and one question that I always ask them, and I want to ask you this question too, because I have my own opinion on this answer, because I've experienced it myself. And that is, do you think that endurance sports masks emotional pain? Maybe.
Yes and no.
And I think you know what I'm getting at when I ask these questions, because we tire ourselves out so much physically that we don't have the time to really think about what's going on in our lives, and it can just get put on the back burner.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on both things, but not everyone that is doing endurance sports is masking emotional baggage, so to speak. Some definitely are. Some are using endurance sports to address emotional issues. Some people will become more emotionally aware, and therefore better humans, better mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, whatever, because through endurance sports, they're able to become more emotionally aware. And that's what's really incredible. Other people go into endurance sports and realize that if they're not emotionally aware, that endurance sport could crush them. Because endurance sport, for a lot of people, it's driven by ego, but successful endurance athletes are not driven by ego. They're driven by something a lot deeper, which is emotional awareness. So it's a
Sorry,
really interesting, no, it's a super interesting question. And I think, and that's what makes it so interesting. If we go back to what I said, those 8 to 10 people sat around a table having a coffee, every single one of them, we slowly learn about their story and why they're there. And so many people come because of they think that they're addressing one issue, but then they, which is normally weight loss or health, you know, I want to be healthier, I want to be a little bit fitter. But then through endurance sports or even just through working out, they get answers to literally a plethora of questions that they've had, which that to me is super powerful.
Yeah, and also from a personal perspective, I think if you're doing it properly, when I used to train a lot, like crazy distances, I never did it properly in terms of the nutrition, the recovery. And if you're doing all this properly, then mentally, I think you're going to be better up here. But I know I was just wiped out all the time. And and it's so easy to forget about things that you have going on in your life. Remember, you know, I was always having problems with my properties in the UK, and I just didn't even face them when I was training. You know, the only time I'd think about them when I was lying in bed on a night. But then I was just like so tired, you know, that I just go to sleep. So
yeah. No, it is super interesting. And that's where, as I said, everyone is so unique. And that's why I think as human beings, it's important that we ask interesting questions to people and then listen to the answers, because I've learned so much from the clients that I've coached or that have come through our coaching structure here, just by asking them questions and by listening. And, you know, we've all had, Dubai's quite and not just Dubai, but the world is an interesting melting pot of experiences. And, you know, most of the people that I work with are 35 upwards. That's quite a lot of experience of life. You know, we don't all, despite people saying they go through life with their eyes closed, they don't. You know, people, it's just that we don't have the patience to ask them the right questions and listen to the answers and to draw out their experiences in the right way. But the point here is simple, that we learn so much from others if we're ready to ask questions and listen to the answers and then ask more questions, which that doesn't often happen.
yeah, 100%, definitely. Where do you get your inspiration from, Marcus, when you're training? And do you have, is there any specific like tactics or techniques, or is every race different? Do you have, is there something that you do that really keeps you going when the going gets tough and you've really got to kind of,
guess,
you know, you're getting all that mental chatter going on in your head?
The answer is twofold, and I think it starts way before the race, the event, or whatever it is. I believe that we're a product of our environment. We're a product of our habits. So I think you have to look every day at what you do. And I believe that if you prepare correctly for races, yes, they're going to be challenging, and yes, there are going to be times, but that you sort of you ask yourself some questions. However, if your preparation for the race, if it's a 3-month dial-in to a race or an event, if that is really on point, starting a race is just the icing on the cake. It's just beautiful because you've done everything. You haven't skipped a training session. You've taken care of your body by good sleep. You've eaten well. You've read the right books. You've taken care of all your equipment. You should be on the start line of the race thinking, this is it. This is everything I've trained for. And honestly, when we work with athletes that do everything, the race is the easy part. And I'll say that to people and be like, what do you mean? Watch. It's way harder, Zoe, to wake up at 4:30 a.m. 67 times in preparation for that race than it is to do that race. You've done all the hard yards. And that's what people don't quite buy into and quite understand, the importance of the training program, which is the process, which is what we're living every single day. Now, when it comes to the race, yes, you're going to push harder. Yes, it's going to be, I mean, I give you an example. We were doing a challenge out in Al Qudra in summer last year. And on the last bit, we'd been out there for about 8 hours. And on the last bit, it was like 54 degrees. But because you've done this training and because you're somehow have a relaxed mindset, okay, it's 54 degrees. What do we do? And of course, like the rational mind saying, okay, stop this. This is stupid. But you're like, no, we trained for this. We've done all of this training. What's the smart thing to do right now? Just back off a little bit. If you fight it and you keep trying to run at a pace that you thought you could run at, or ride at a pace that you thought you could ride at, if you fight against it, you're never going to win. You have to have this cool mindset that says, okay, what's going on? Let's just back off. And so that's how I approach it. And that's how I think people should really understand it, that the things that you do every day, the process makes you strong when it comes to the challenges, because you've trained yourself in a way that you can get through it.
And I like how you focus on enjoying the process, not just the end goal, but enjoying the training.
Absolutely.
That is so important. And that's what I miss that. I miss that so much. Look, I still train, but just that kind of going up to Al Qudra and do like the 100K on the bike and doing the really long runs and doing it consistently and doing it with your friends. And there's just something that is really special about that.
Yeah, it is. And that's what, I saw a lot of people when I moved more into the endurance scene, I used to hear a lot of people would come to me and say, can you help me? I said, okay, what's going on? They say, I hate my training. I'm like, what? You hate your training? Okay, why? And then the next person would come and, can you help me? Yes, okay, what's going on? I hate my training. I just can't wait for this to be over. I'm like, you've committed 6 months of your life to do something truly special, be it run a marathon, half Ironman, whatever it is, and we're 5 months in and you hate it? What is that? I want people to wake up in the morning and go, yes, I can't wait to get on my bike this morning. This is absolutely it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm excited about. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, listen, Zoe, I don't wake up every day doing backflips out of bed, but most days, because I'm focused, like this morning, I was on my bike. I woke up 5 o'clock. I can't wait for the session to start at 6. Like, I'm genuinely excited about it. And I think if we can, but there's a reason why I am, because I'm in touch with my motivation, with my why. If we can unlock that in people, but the sad reality is a lot of people sign up for a marathon, a 10K, a sprint distance triathlon, an Ironman for the wrong reasons. And it goes back to what you were saying before, they're masking emotional imbalances. Maybe my marriage is not going in the right way. I'll do this to somehow put me back on track. So what really is the motivation? Have they dug into it? A lot of people they haven't. And it's a tough one, because where we're at mentally is a product of our life and of our subconscious. And so to unpick that can actually be quite painful. And we have to really, I've used this example quite a lot recently. Hopefully it works for the listeners, but it's almost like an onion. When you take the skin off an onion, it doesn't make you cry. But when you keep peeling the layers off this onion and you get down to the juicy stuff in the core, literally when you're chopping it, you're crying like hell. And humans are very similar. If we want to go really deep inside and ask these deep questions and say, so Zoe, tell me a little bit about childhood. How were you treated by your friends, by your family? Are there any points of your childhood that actually stand out? Were you bullied in school? All of these things will form subconscious behaviors that somehow lock you into what you become as an adult. And if we want to unlock it, we have to open the onion right up. And it's super deep. but it's incredibly powerful and it's so freeing when you get it out.